For 2 weeks only, get your own Zombie Killer t-shirt. A link is down below. Ascension has been a hotbed for discussion as of lately, and I, like any good YouTuber, have decided to jump on the bandwagon. I gotta get those views somehow. But I will say, the discussion is not unwarranted. There is actually some pretty cool and interesting Easter eggs that have been featured in Ascension. The most notable one comes from this Dr. Monty radio.
Ascension, the Russian cosmodrome. I know Nikolai can be a bit down on Soviet technology, but the Friskies really pulled one out of the bag that time. The Ascension group built a bloody great rocket. It actually worked a treat too. You remember Gersh? Old guy? He fought alongside you for a while. I think Richtofen was off somewhere at the time. Anyway, Gersh ran into a little bit of dimensional distortion.
You all smell worse than my breath!
Meddling with stuff you don't understand.
I must fight my way through!
Their experiments just stirred the reality so You ended up fighting monkeys. Space monkeys at that. As I'm sure you know, monkeys are thieving little bastards. Give them half a chance and they'll nick anything that isn't nailed down. So, in answer to a question Richtofen once asked, I don't love a monkey.
In the radio, Dr. Monty describes Gersh as a bald man who fought alongside our characters, but he says Richtofen was absent for some reason. And this didn't really make much sense. We can't point to a time in the zombie storyline when it was just our three characters without Richtofen fighting with Gersh. We've never actually seen Gersh in a physical form. But then many of us pointed to the Ascension poster, and this is when things started to make sense, because in the poster we have our crew minus Richtofen, so Tank, Takio, and Nikolai. But then there's a mysterious bald man, a bald man whom we've never seen before, and we didn't understand why he was there. Many of us thought this was just a mistake from the artist, and maybe he accidentally drew Richtofen bald, and then others thought, well, maybe this is actually a different character. And then we started pointing it to a number of different people, such as Gersh, or Yuri, or random other bald people in the world of zombies, or other bald people in the Ascension group who we've seen in, say, the campaign. Either way, we were never able to definitively explain what was up with this bald man, until this radio. And it appears as though this radio is describing the Ascension poster in a different time, in a different universe, in which our characters were fighting alongside Gersh without Richtofen while he was off doing something else. It doesn't really make much sense. It's a point in time that, like I said, we've never played, but it had to have happened because this is what Monty is describing. Now, one point of criticism is that many think that he is not saying bald, B-A-L-D, rather ball, B-A-L-L, and he's referring to the ball of light or the ball of energy that Gersh was in Garad Krovi. And my issue with this statement is that, well, Richtofen was at Garad Krovi. Dr. Monty is describing a time without Richtofen, where Richtofen was absent. He wasn't absent when we first saw Gersh as a ball, so I'm not sure I really buy that theory. And I like the idea of him holding the thunder gun. This is a very fitting weapon considering that he was the one who led Project Thunder, and he was the man behind the Thunder gun. So while it's not a smoking gun that this is Gersh, this is probably the best theory that we've ever had and the most evidence we've ever had pertaining to who the bald man is. So that's one mystery in Ascension that has been solved. But the thing about Ascension is there's actually a lot more mystery to it than ever before. And this is really why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to first point out Richtofen is missing his spacesuit. So this is Richtofen in the original Ascension. You'll notice he's wearing a spacesuit without a helmet. And then they even, in the remastered version on iOS, include a spacesuit on Richtofen. So this was a detail that not only did they put in the original map, but then remembered to carry over into the iOS version. But then for some reason, when they remaster Ascension in Zombie Chronicles, they did not include Richtofen's spacesuit. He's in his original Nazi military uniform, or whatever you'd like to call this little outfit that Richtofen has been sporting throughout much of Black Ops 1. And this doesn't make any sense. Why is he suddenly missing his suit? Why is this a detail that they have decided to leave out? Now, one thing that I know from conversations with Jason Blundell is that he said there are little changes, and people who pay attention to these details and people who know the story will look at those changes and go, wait a minute, that's not right. And Jason Blundell is doing this intentionally. He wants us to try to figure this out, or he's trying to tell us something different about this map. There's one more final mystery about this map that I think definitely needs to be pointed out, and many before me have already pointed this out, so this isn't breaking news, but you can actually find the Shadow Man in this map. I remember I originally spoke about this on Zombros, but me and Reed brushed it off because it was in the trailer, and the trailer didn't really give a good view, so we didn't know whether or not it was actually the Shadow Man. But when you go in-game, you can look at him with a sniper rifle by the Pack-a-Punch, and you can clearly see he is the Shadow Man, and what he does is just move across that windowsill over the course of the game. So here we have a new version of Ascension in which almost everything is identical, except Monty talks about a time at Ascension which we've never visited, or Richtofen is no longer in his spacesuit, and the Shadow Man is present watching over us, and he never watched over us on Ascension before, or he was at least never present in the previous Ascension. So what's going on with Ascension? I think Ascension is more important than sometimes we give it credit for, and I think there's more than meets the eye, especially in the Zombie Chronicles version of Ascension. To me, Richtofen not wearing his spacesuit is the bigger mystery rather than the bald man. Whether or not the bald man was Gersh never really made a huge difference in the storyline, but the fact that Richtofen had a spacesuit in Ascension never made any sense, and now he's missing his spacesuit. I, for one, don't believe these are the original Ultimus universes. I believe this is a fracture, or maybe just one of the many other timelines. This doesn't have to be a fracture necessarily. Either way, this is something that should not go overlooked, and that's why I wanted to make this video, just to bring this up. What do you think's going on with this spacesuit? Why is Richtofen not wearing his spacesuit in this version of Ascension? And also, another question that we've yet to answer for over, I guess, 6 years now? Why was Richtofen wearing a spacesuit beforehand? Where did he get it? From Kino all the way to Ascension. From what we understand, they took a lunar lander from Kino or somewhere and then rode it all the way to Ascension. But how did Richtofen pick up a spacesuit during that time? It doesn't make any sense. This is probably one of the biggest and strangest mysteries that has been plaguing the zombie storyline since its inception. I'm gonna go though. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and